All right, guys, there seems to be a bit of a confusion. So I want to answer some questions. And today, put it this way, this is going to be part 2 of how to take profits or how to take initial investments out. So my strategy, so all I'm doing is basically just telling you my specific strategy. This has got nothing to do with how you would do it yourself. I'm not a financial advisor. You do you, I do me. So the particular strategy that I use, right, and we talked about how, you know, I've accumulated so many different types of coins, right, and how I specifically do it. So number one, I want to go from how I would initially enter. So the question to enter, for me, I found it mathematically a lot more viable. That means I don't really have to work out the difference or anything, as long as I keep the number rounded. Now, whether it be £10, £100, £1,000, you know, whatever it is, I noticed that if I keep it a rounded number, so a specific round number for any asset, right? So any asset, you know, regardless whether it be a BTC or whether it be Binance coin or Ethereum or Cardano or even some penny stocks, right? And I have bought penny stocks before, right? As long as I'm entering with a specific rounded number, as I said, whether it be £10, £100, £1,000, you know, £10,000, it doesn't matter. The idea is to make sure you only enter at a specific price, or not a price, but you enter with a specific amount. Now that helps you to keep track of things. So in the future, all of a sudden, if you see a coin, say for example, I'm just going to give you a rough example here. You buy a coin for £1,000, and then all of a sudden you look at the coin and it says £1,200. Well, guess what? You don't even have to do the maths. You just realize by just looking at it instantly, you've made 200 quid. Right? So now I want to take you to part 2. Now that part 1 is over, right? So I hope that makes sense. The part 1 is you buy at a whatever amount of currency you buy, you make sure it's the exact same amount for every single coin. In fact, actually, I'm going to park up because I want to really talk about this one, because this is really important. So whatever amount you buy, you have to buy, you know, keep that consistent. Consistency is the key, right? So if you're buying £100 worth, you make sure you buy £100 of whatever. Now, the reason you keep it consistent, obviously, as I said, it's easier for you to keep track, right? But also there's one other great fundamental to this as well, and it really helps you. So remember what I said. So we're going to go to part 2 now. So part 2, you've put, say for example, you've put 100 or even 1,000, and all of a sudden you're like, you know, say 20% up, right? We'll just keep a percentage. You're 20% up. I don't personally take my profits out, right? If I do take some out, which is fine. So say for example, I'm just going to give you a round figure. You take £1,000 and it's all of a sudden now worth £1,200. I'll take 1,100 out. The 1,000 would be my original investment, so initial investment. I'll take that back out in order to buy something else or reinvest into something else. I'll take 100 of the profit. So remember, we made £200 profit. I'll take 100 of that and I'll treat myself or do whatever. In some instances, I've even split it amongst other coins as well. So I bought something else that looked a bit lucrative, so I'll buy that. But I always leave some of the profit back into that coin. I don't take it out. And by doing that method allows me to accumulate, right? So, you know, when I'm entering something, I enter with a very specific amount, fixed amount. That's the lowest I will enter. So whether it be £10, £100, £1,000, or whatever it be, right? So remember what I'm trying to say here. But when I exit that coin, I leave some of the profit in that coin. So then I'll end up with, like, say £100 worth of something, but I never bought that one. That's called free currency, right? So I leave that just in case it pops in the future or does something crazy in the future. I will leave that. Then what I'll do is, obviously, I'll use my initial investment to reinvest into something else or buy something else, and I carry on the cycle. So every time I'm, you know, entering something, I'm only using the same money to re-enter, and recycle that same amount of money. While I'm doing that, I'm making sure I'm leaving some of the profit back into that coin, just in case it pops in the future. So the number one target is to take initial investments out. That's the whole target. So you can take that £1,000 and continuously recycle with that and carry on. Wow, it's snowing. So you can do whatever you want from there. So I hope that kind of makes sense, right? Now, part 3, right? We have to have a part 3, right? And this is where things get really, really beautiful. So, you know, say for example, I'm just gonna round it off. You've got £1,000 and you bought £1,000 worth of Binance coin, and then you made 10% on it or whatever, right? 20% on it. And then you've taken your initial investment out but left the 20% there. Then you bought another coin and you bought another coin, so on and so forth. You did that 10 times. Now, by doing that 10 times on all of them, you left 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Listen to this, and this is going to get crazy, right? So you did that over a certain period of time, whether it be a month, 2 months, 6 months, it doesn't matter. You did that. Your 1,000 is now worth 3,000, because every time you left 20%, 20%, 20%, and you did that 10 times, 20% of 1,000 10 times is 2,000. So now you've got £2,000 worth of another asset. So not only did you multiply your money by 3x, right? Or, you know, technically you can say 300%. So you're in profit 200%. Your initial money is still in your hands. So you can now go and do whatever you want. And your other assets, if they do appreciate in value, right? And remember, not everything succeeds, right? So out of 10 coins, you know, 5 could easily fail. You know, you have to have that 50-50. 5 could fail. But regardless, even if 50% of it fails, you're still £1,000 up, right? Because you left that in profits. And then in the future, if that pumps again, then of course you're making money. And that's how you accumulate more and more coin. You don't have to necessarily go and buy some of that, some of this, some of that, because you're going to confuse the life out of yourself, right? To keep it simple over time, right? You strategically, you keep your emotions intact, obviously. That's what I always say. And you enter into something and then you basically work on that, right? And it's always a good idea to stick to the best coins, because when you stick to the best coins, you know they're always going to move. Obviously, provided the market is trending. I wouldn't advise this on a downward trend. I wouldn't advise this on a bear cycle. However, a bear cycle is a good opportunity to buy any coin and just stick around, right? It's a great opportunity, actually. The bear cycle is probably the best opportunity for you to buy certain things. Now, there's another strategy that I do talk about, and that's different, right? And that's like how to split your investment. So say if someone said, I had £1,000, what do I do? Then I say, well, if you have £1,000, then rather than putting all your eggs in one basket, split it amongst 3 or 4 or 5 coins, right? You know, put a small amount in certain things. And that's kind of the similar thing as, you know, during a bull cycle, when you're making 10%, 20% continuously, you can make that in a day sometimes, right? When you're making that and you're moving out and leaving some, it does kind of work in the similar way. So what you're doing is, if you bought 4 assets, for example, 1 might not even move, but the other 3 could, or it could be the other way around. 3 could not move and 1 could move. But either way, you're kind of hedging against each other. And you're saying, okay, I'm not betting on all of them. I'm just kind of spreading my bets, and you know, whichever one goes up. So that's what it is. Remember, buying cryptocurrency, buying stocks, buying anything, even buying a house, buying a business, it's a gamble, right? It's a gamble. Ultimately, it's a gamble. So you're risking your capital. The question is how do you manage that, right? And this is one way I found that it was quite good, you know, easy to manage. Because number one, if I'm going with 10 quid, then I know I've just spent 10 quid. I know my target is to make sure I get my £10 out, all right? And then I can reinvest that elsewhere while leaving some of the profit in the currency that I had. And if that grows, it grows, right? So, you know, I hope this kind of makes sense. This is how it is. It's not about how many coins you buy. I know you asked the question, like, you know, how many coins do you own? It's not about that, trust me. It's got nothing to do with how many coins you buy. It's got to do with what your entry, what your limitations are, or what your budget is to enter. So it could be 10 quid, it could be 100, it could be 1,000, it could be 10,000, it could be 100,000 by all means, right? Depends on how rich you are, right? But that's what it is. And then if you've got a few coins left over, then you're laughing, because those are bonuses, right? A lot of people don't understand. When you play with your initial and you constantly recycle your initial and leave your profits, right, into the actual currency, then you're kind of working towards your future, right? You know, I talk about, like, I've got probably about close to 450 now. Recently, I've obviously gone into a whole bunch of other ones and come out and taken my initials out. And some coins I've got like 100 left, some coins I've got like 50 left, 100,000, whatever. You know, you have all of these kind of little shrapnels, like, you know, I call them dust, right? Something you're not going to use. So, you know, I've even gone to the extent where currently I've started to come out of all of them as much as I could, up to the point of 99.9%. So I went extreme because I know Bitcoin is about to make a move. There's no point me being inside another one and hoping for it to go up. If I've made profits in it, I'm happy to take 99.9% out. So this is extreme level, but that's only because we're on the top of the bull market. So when I'm doing that, I'm only leaving 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds worth. And this is no joke. I'm only leaving 20, 30 pounds worth, 40 pounds worth, 50 quid. And there was one coin, which one was it? I mentioned it in one of my videos back in the days, how I was playing with it, Wi-Fi token. Well, recently I got rid of all of that. And currently I only have 200 pounds left. I just left 200 pounds, just for the sake of it. I just said, like, okay, leave 200 quid there. You know, if it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, who cares, right? I'm not losing my money. That's the thing. You have to have that attitude. It's like, well, it's from profits. I'm not really going to lose anything. And I've also made sure I've taken my initial out. I've also made sure I've taken maximum profit out, right? So the Wi-Fi token was profitable. In fact, from my initial investment, I think I made almost close to 3.5x. So 3.5x, you know, leaving 200 there is nothing, right? Is nothing. It's like 0.01%. So just left it there, right? This is the thing you have to understand. A lot of the time, it's like, you know, how you do the thing, but most importantly, your initial investment is your key. I always say that your initial investment is key. Of course, people, you kind of confuse it, but when I say take your profits, what I'm trying to say is free your initial investment, leave some profit and take some profits, right? Treat yourself. That's the idea. If you're going to be investing and you're not going to take anything out, what's the point you being in there, right? So that's what it is. So it's a short video today. I don't want to really make anything longer, but I thought I kind of, because this question keeps on coming up, you know, and I think a lot of people are just confused. You know, I have given one-to-one sessions to a few people, but I think still, like, on the broader sense of things, people just don't understand. How do you take profits? Well, I don't take profits. You know, I take a very small amount to kind of treat myself, but more importantly than anything else, I take my initial investments out. That's the key to your success. I call it a float. Like, think about it. You know, if you in a shop and you have a till, you can't start trading unless you have some change in the till. Whatever amount of change you keep in the till has to always be the same amount, whether it be, you know, 50 quid or 100 quid in change. It will always be 100 quid, right? That's how you have a zero balance, right? So that's my float. That's what I'm trading with. You know, I've started a trade, whether it be £10, £100, £1,000 or whatever. I'm making sure that that's always free. Now, this is where greed goes away, because I have zero greed. I'm not looking for 100% pump. I'm not looking for a 200% pump. Very small amounts, right? And as long as those small amounts are achievable, they're great profits, because I've taken my initial out and I'm free. That money, whatever I've left there in profits, is just free money. So I hope this kind of makes sense, right? I'm not going to do anything else. I mean, I was going to do I'll probably do a chart tomorrow. I'll probably do a live stream or something tomorrow. But right now, I don't think it's kind of necessary, because there's a lot of targets we haven't met. Like, you know, for example, we've got the BNB target for $506. We haven't met that yet. We've got the 2,200 and something, I forgot what it was, 2,200 anyway, of the Ethereum target to meet. We haven't met that. We've got the $1.40 Cardano to meet. We haven't met that. We've got, I think it was a $49 Polkadot. We haven't met that. There's a few others. Where was the other one? There's a $270 Litecoin target to meet. So we're only $20 away, by the way. So we're going to get there at some point. Bitcoin, we've got to stabilize to the 60,000 then we're fine. And I think it's 60,000 something. So we did kind of almost go to 61,000, which we need to. But as soon as we go there, we will stabilize. I've noticed the channel has changed. So, you know, I always say we have a high and low, and we have a channel. And every time you fall inside the channel, you shouldn't be trading. Well, the channel's just become a little bit wider, and by doing that, it's caused a bit of a problem, which means the 58,000, which was originally outside the channel, is now falling inside the channel. So that means we have to be above the 60, or even close to 61,000. Actually, I think it's 60,700 or something. But if we go above that, then it's going to be quite good, positive again for us. So you have to be very careful about channels as well. It's not always like the same thing, right? So current channel is showing from 57,000 to 61,000. So it's a big channel. I mean, when you talk about Bitcoin, it's not really that big of a thing. So yeah, now other than that, I've got a few interviews I've seen. I'm going to take some little short clips of them and I'm going to send them out. You'll see what's going on. I've got some videos coming regarding Cardano. I've got some videos regarding someone who invested a whole bunch of money into what's it called, NFT recently. He bought an NFT for $63 million. I've got some clips of that interview, and I think everybody has to listen to this guy. I mean, I think it was like an hour's interview on another channel, and what this guy said, I mean, just made so much sense. And you know, I have respect for him. So funnily, you know, I don't care about NFTs, right? And I'm being honest with you, I just don't care about NFTs. I think they're overrated. But what this guy said, and how he got to where he was, and what his lifestyle today, I can relate to it. And I was like, wow. So this guy's basically, he's not one of those Michael Saylor. He's nothing. He has a humble growth. He has a humble life. He's come from a background where he had nothing, and look where he is today. He can afford to buy a $63 million NFT, right? So it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And then looking at his life today, right, how he lives his life today, and you can see there's no change, you know, no change. And I had loads of respect for him. So I thought, you know what, you deserve to be you know, shown to people and showcased, because people you know, should you know, you're leading by example. And this is the thing people don't understand, because a lot of people talk about how people have become millionaires and billionaires recently, and it's true, right? A lot of crypto people who have bought crypto very recently, or even 5-6 years ago, have become millionaires, and some of them have become billionaires. Actually, there are crypto billionaires. A lot of people don't know this, and from very small amounts, you know, very small amount of money, because they believed in something. They diversified, they believed it, they just kept on going, and eventually they became billionaires, right? But when you look at most billionaires, you'll see a fancy few million dollar mansion, or you know, big fancy cars. And you know what the old saying in our culture, when a fish from a small pond falls in a ocean, doesn't know what to do, right? Because it's just too big for him. So that's what happens to a lot of people who just become rich overnight, or who have mostly worked for it as well, become rich. It's all about status. It's all about flashing your wealth. And what this guy, you know, he buys an NFT for 63 million, and he lives in a rented apartment, right? He doesn't own a car. He doesn't have anything, right? You look at his life, and I'm like, wow, this is exactly how it should be. And he explains why, you know, the humble beginnings and where he is now. It didn't change anything. And I have love for him and respect for him. So this is going to be my new Michael Saylor. All right. So, you know, because Michael Saylor pretty much done the same thing, had nothing, and then where he is today. So, you know, congrats to him. But you see all these other people, they're different, right? They're different. It seems like there's only a few people out there who have actually done what they've done. So, you know, yeah, I have loads of respect, and I think I'm going to post, there's going to be one video I'm going to post. I'm just editing it right now, because obviously it's from somebody else's channel, so I don't want to really mess things up or get a copyright strike. But what I will do is I will definitely tag them and say, well, it's from their channel, so respect to them as well. So, you know, because the problem is a lot of these big boys and this and that, even the guy, you know, who bought the thing, he's got humble beginnings, but the fact is they're hard to reach. They're hard to reach. Unless you got a few million people following you on your channel. And it's true, trust me, this guy only goes to people, or probably is contacted by those people who has a few million subscribers. Then it's a different story. But listen, guys, just to reiterate, right, what we talked about, taking profits doesn't mean you take your profit. It means you take your initial investment out with some profits and leave some profit. All right, if you can do that and you can get into that habit, you'll see you're always going to benefit, and whatever change you have remaining, you're just constantly going to accumulate more and more coin. So sometimes it's about accumulating a particular type, which is fine, right? You want to accumulate more Bitcoin, that's fine, you buy the dips and whatnot, right? Or you spot trade. But sometimes you can accumulate coins by just leaving it there, right? So I hope this kind of makes sense, and I hope to catch you guys on another one. So other than that, guys, adios. If you haven't, by the way, if you haven't liked, shared, or subscribed, please do consider. It does help the channel. The channel's growing, and we want to grow it even more. If you like this kind of content, obviously that's what you want, because remember, I'm not here doing scripts, I'm not doing none of those things. I'm just straight up giving you a piece of my mind, basically, my opinions, my experience. That's all I'm passing on, nothing else, right? So I hope it kind of helps everybody. That's what I'm trying to do, is educate people, nothing more. Take care, guys. Adios, amigos.